All right. My beautiful moms, it is your girl, Lanisha Holland, your favorite mompreneur and lifestyle coach for all of my fabulous moms that boss. And as you know, moms that boss, we focus on building up your mind, body, business, and bank account so you can start creating the life that you want, like I did. All right. So let's get into it. So, what are we talking about today? We are going to be talking about your website. Now, I'm doing this because I know I have been in all of your shoes. I know what it's like to want to start a business and you may not have like this.
Okay, do not disturb is now on.
Get your shit together if you do not have it together so you can have a successful end of the year. So here we go. All right. My beautiful moms, it is your girl, Lanisha Holland, your favorite mompreneur and lifestyle coach for all of my fabulous moms that boss. And as you know, moms that boss, we focus on building up your mind, body, business, and bank account so you can start creating the life that you want, like I did. All right. So let's get into it. So, what are we talking about today? We are going to be talking about your website. Now, I'm doing this because I know I have been in all of your shoes. I know what it's like to want to start a business and you may not have like this huge budget. You may be trying to sell some stuff to come up with money to support your business and things like that. So, starting off, you probably don't have a lot of money to get someone to build a website for you. So, that's what we're talking about, do it yourself websites. Now, I am not going to be going through this as a way to walk you through building a website, but I'm going to give you a lot of do's and don'ts when it comes down to building your website. So that way you can have the foundation to get started. Now, if you are enrolled in the Side Hustle Bootcamp, you already know I will give you way more guidance when it comes down to actually building your website. And of course, that is also a service that, hello, LH Enterprises does offer website design if it is something that you would like to have done for you. Now, here we go. So again, you may not have a huge budget to have someone build a website for you, and that's totally fine. Because a lot of people think that going into you have to have like this super fancy website with all the bells and the whistles. And I'm going to tell you that is not what gets people to buy from you. Okay, it's really not. I have come across websites where I'm just like, it's so basic, but I know that they're doing great business. I've come across websites that I go to it and they have so much going on, and I'm like, oh my God, this is giving me anxiety. Like, I'm getting off of here. Then I've gone to websites where I can't even tell what they sell because their website is so horrible because they're not even showcasing what it is that they do, right? So they only get my attention for like 5 seconds, and then I'm like, I don't even know exactly what it is that you do. So I'm just gonna, click off and keep it moving, right? So you do not have to have a crazy, like fancy website starting off. Okay. You just need to have a website that is easy to navigate through, displays your message so people know why they're there and can buy your stuff. And the customer journey is simple. That's it. Okay. Well put together, looks nice, doesn't have to be crazy, simple with a great customer experience. Okay. So that's really all you need. Do not get so caught up on, well, I have to have this and I have to have that, because I'm actually going to tell you the important things that you need to have on your website to improve your customer journey. Okay, so stop freaking out. Now, before you even build a website, yeah, and guys, I have my notepad here to make sure that, I don't forget to tell you guys something. So before you even start thinking about actually building a website, you first have to do some pre-work. All right. So the first thing that you need to make sure that you're doing is, of course, getting your domain name. And you may or may not, understand what some of this terminology is. So I'm going to break down for you. Your domain name. Now, for example, you have a boutique. You call it Lala's Boutique, right? So Lala's Boutique, the www.lalasboutique.com, that is your domain name. Happily-naturally-me.com, that is my domain name for my skincare line. That it's the what comes after the www is your domain name. Yahoo.com, Google.com, all domain names, or it could be .org or .edu or .co.net, but that is the domain name. So it's important that you own your domain name. So once you have your domain name, but you could also purchase your domain name from the company that you plan on hosting your website. Now, you're probably like, Lanisha, what exactly is a hosting company? That's totally fine. Your hosting company is how you get your website to show up on the internet. It does not show up on the internet unless you have a hosting company or your own servers. And if you have your own servers, then you're not watching this video because you're so far advanced because you've got your own servers, right? So, but if you're not someone that has your own servers, I only know one person that actually has her own servers. You're using a company to host your website. So a lot of times your hosting company, this would be like your Shopify, your GoDaddy, your Wix, your Weebly, your Vanza, right? A lot of times the hosting companies that you use will allow you, depending on the package that you purchase, the hosting package that you purchase, will give you at least one domain name included in your package. So think about that when you were deciding on who you want to host your website. Not all of them do that. So you have to look and you have to see which is the best fit for you. What I will tell you is make sure that you are not using the free service for your hosting website. And what I mean by that is, for example, like Shopify or like Weebly or Wix. GoDaddy doesn't do this, but they will give you allow you to have a free version of their website, right? It's very basic. You're not going to get a whole lot from it, but when you do that, what happens is they'll give you a domain name, but it's not your domain name. You don't own that domain name. So instead, let's use Lala's Boutique. So if you use their free service, the domain name that they will give you is lalasboutique.shopify.com. Okay? You don't own lalasboutique.shopify.com. You own lalasboutique.com, right? So, and the reason why I'm telling you not to do this is, so for example, you start off with Shopify, you're using lalasboutique.shopify.com, right? And you're like, forget Shopify. I don't like them no more. Now I want to switch over here to Vanza, right? So now you're like, okay, let me use their free platform. Now you're like Lala's boutique.vanza.com. Now your customers don't know how to find you because you've switched. But if you purchase or if you own lalasboutique.com, it doesn't matter which hosting platform you're using. You just move your website to the new hosting platform and your customers can always find you at lalasboutique.com. Make sense? Let me know if you guys have any questions, okay? So this is like super important. I'm very big on making sure that you're owning the different aspects of your name. And I know trademarking, that's a whole nother conversation. Trademarking can be rather expensive. So you're probably most likely not trademarking when you're first starting out, but eventually you do want to get down to trademarking to protect your business federally, because when you do, your LLC or your S Corp or, your C Corp status, that's only statewide. So someone from another state can be using your name, so that's a whole other thing. Just because you own your domain name doesn't mean that you have legal rights to the name unless you trademark it federally, and then you only have rights to that name here in the US, because if you do business outside in another country, you have to trademark in other countries too. That's like a whole nother success workshop. We're not getting into that. I am not a trademark expert whatsoever. Okay. So now that we've covered domain name and hosting, another thing that you have to do before you even think about building your website is you have to get your branding down. And if you are part of the Side Hustle Bootcamp, you already know that branding and marketing are totally two different things, right? So you have to get your branding down, because whether you build your website yourself or you're having somebody else build it for you, you have to have that stuff figured out. You have to, know what your messaging is. You have to, because all of this is going to be incorporated in your website. So if you don't have this stuff together, you can't build the website. It's going to be all over the place, right? And like I said, I've seen some websites where they're all over the place. So you have to have your brand message down. You have to have your logo. Guys, if you are making a logo yourself, or if you're having someone make a logo for you, it is extremely important that they give you all the versions of your logo. And what I mean by that is, for example, you need to make sure that you have a transparent background of your logo, so that way it can be put on things. It can be put on like pins and shirts and hello in your website. If you have a solid background behind it, it's going to look weird, or it may not mesh with your website. You have to have a transparent version of transparent background version of your website. Please, 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 please make sure that you are communicating that with the person who is making your logo, or if you are doing it yourself, that you have that version of it. Okay. So, your logo, your brand colors. Guys, there is a psychology behind the colors that you pick for your business. So, you can Google that. But of course, if you're in the Side Hustle Bootcamp, you have all of that information in your e-course. But you have to make sure that you have all those things down. This is super important for when someone is building your website, because they need to know who your audience is. And your website has to speak to your audience. Everything about it, the images, the language, it all has to speak to your audience so they can relate to your business. People buy from those that they know, like, and trust, and they can relate to you. They're more likely to buy from you. So you got to speak to your audience. Okay. The next thing that you have to make sure that you have down, which kind of falls into your brand messaging, is your copy. Probably like, what do you mean by copy, Lanisha? That is the written portion of your website. So you may hire a copywriter to write the copy for you for your website, but this would be like your product descriptions, your about me page, all the stuff that's written on your website. And it's super important that whoever is doing your copy, that they are putting keywords throughout your website, throughout the copy. And what I mean by that is because those keywords will help with your search engine optimization. And that helps with your ranking on like Google and things like that, especially when people are looking for things that your company does. Like, for example, if you are a brick and mortar or whatever the case may be, you look for local insurance agents in your area. You want to be one of the top ones that pop up, right? So it's super important that your SEO is on point as well. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother success workshop. But you have to make sure that your copy has some great keywords in it. Again, that is something that your audience would be searching for. All right. Let me see, make sure I didn't miss anything. So yeah, that's your pre-work. That's your pre-work that you have to make sure that you're doing. If you guys have questions, please make sure that you are asking. All right. So now that you've done your pre-work, now we're going to start talking about actually building out your website. So when you are building your website, and again, let me backtrack. If you hire someone to build your website for you, please, 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 please make sure that you invest in a good person that is going to build your website. Like, websites can be pretty expensive. So if someone is charging you less than $500 to build your website, I can guarantee you that, yeah, it may look nice on the outside to your customers, but on the back end, it's not going to have everything that you need. So make sure that you're getting everything that you need, so that way you can function properly on your end when it comes down to running your website and making sure that you have a great customer experience. Now, when I started out, I built my own website. Why? Because again, like I said, I didn't really have the resources, the financial resources to have someone build my website. So what I did was, I'm a huge like do-it-yourselfer, and I have learned that doing it yourself is not always the best way to go, because you can spend a lot more, waste so much time trying to figure things out on your own. But I did, and you're probably going to do that too, and that's why you're watching this do-it-yourself success workshop for websites. But I bought a For Dummies, I love those books, by the way, For Dummies WordPress book, because when I built my first website for Happily Naturally Me, like the Shopify's and stuff like that did not exist at that point in time. So I did my research on how to build a website. And I ended up purchasing my domain name and my hosting through GoDaddy. And at the time, I used their $5.99 a month hosting plan that they had, and I built my website through WordPress, and it was being hosted on GoDaddy. Now, for someone who's not tech savvy, I do not suggest that you build your website on WordPress, because you do need to know a little bit of coding and things like that, and how to install plugins. Now, there are a lot of, easier ways to do it now, but I know how to do it. I know how to build websites now. So I still host all of my stuff on GoDaddy and have them built on WordPress. And you will hear me talk a lot about Vonza. I absolutely love Vonza, but I already had everything set up on WordPress for my websites, and I use Vonza for a lot of things to help me with my business, like my sales funnels, my forms that I use. What else do I use them for? Oh, to house my e-course for the Side Hustle Bootcamp, and they also have a membership where you can have like a membership website and things like that. So I absolutely love Vonza. So if you are not someone who is very tech savvy, I suggest you do hosting companies that have the drag and drop. I know GoDaddy does have like a drag and drop build your website now, but so your Vonza, which I will actually drop a link for Vonza for you. But Vonza, Shopify, a lot of people love Shopify. It's very big. Weebly. I don't think too many people use Weebly anymore. I don't know, but Wix. But those are some things that you can look into when you're deciding on where you actually want to have your website hosted on the internet. Okay. So things that you should make sure that you are having on your website if you decide that you are going to build it yourself. Now, your e-commerce store, of course, should have a couple of things. And think about when you go to companies' websites, the things that you like and the things that you see. First and foremost, you should make sure that you have your offer pop up of how to collect email addresses. Like, guys, you should always be focused on collecting email addresses and building your email list. Yeah, followers are great on whatever social media platform that is, exciting at the time. Right now, you got your Facebook, you got your Instagram, Pinterest, things like that. But at the end of the day, you do not own your followers on those social media sites. The social media site goes down, people aren't using it anymore. Guess what? Now you've lost all of those people, but you do own your email list. So when people come to your website, you should be giving them something to entice them to give you their email address. So what are you offering? Are you offering like a promotional discount if they sign up for your email list? Are you offering them a download? Are you offering them a free consultation? Like, what are you offering them? You should have some type of pop-up or something like that, or place on your website for people to enter their email address, and in exchange you give them something to entice them to use your services or buy your products, right? Okay, so that is the first thing that you want to make sure that you're having on your website, besides your products and all that stuff. The second thing is, I want you to make sure that you are actually having your policies on there. Super important. What's your shipping policy? What's your return policy? For example, on my Happily Naturally Me website, shipping, I tell all my customers to expect up to 2 weeks for shipping. Why? Because everything I do is handmade. Have I ever taken 2 weeks to ship something out? No, absolutely not. 1-2 days tops, unless it's over the weekend. But 1 to 2 days is normally out. Sometimes I ship it out within a couple of hours, depending on what time they order it. Because I do have some stuff that's already made that's in stock, but some of the stuff, I make it right then and there. So have your shipping policies listed on your website. Have your return policy listed on your website. Those are super important. Okay. The other thing is that you want to make sure that you have your email sequences down. And what do I mean by that? Okay. So someone orders something from your website, they should automatically be getting an email saying that their order has been received, or, it's their receipt, something along those lines, so that they know that their order has gone through. Now, for my customers, once I have placed an order, once they've placed an order in the system, you get the notification. And once I have completed the order, fulfilled it, I hit the button, say that it's complete. Then they get a notification saying that their order has been processed. I use Pirate Ship right now to do my postage for like my postage labels. So the way Pirate Ship is set up is, once you put their information in, you have the option of putting their email address in, even their phone number, and you can check the button, check the little checkbox to say whether or not you want to email them that their order has, going through the next stage in the shipping process, and it will actually notify them when their order has been delivered. I absolutely love it. So make sure that you have your processes in place to keep your customers in the loop of when their products are going to get to them. Okay. Another email that you want sequence is that you want to have your abandoned cart. So somebody has, come to your website, they look around, they put stuff in their cart. Guess what? They don't check out, but a couple days they get an email reminding them, hey, you put these items in your cart, but you didn't buy them. Hey, come back and buy them. But also, I have it set up that once my customers purchase something, 2 weeks, it's they will automatically get an email asking them to review the product. I've gotten customers that have actually, went in and reviewed the product and left, 5-star ratings on their product because they've used it. A lot of people don't, but the way that my system is set up, I can actually send them reminder emails saying, hey, again, how did you like this product? Come and rate us, let us know. And then I've gotten, customer reviews on my website because of that. So have your things in place. Again, it's all about making sure that you have a good customer experience. Um, like also, depending on which hosting platform you're using, a lot of times they will have tutorial videos on how to do these things. And of course, YouTube is always your best friend. Let me see. Okay, so those are some email sequences that you want to make sure that you're having. Blogs. Have a blog on your website. They are so helpful. And the reason why I say that is because as you're on social media, you can drop those links to your blogs because sometimes they don't allow you to promote in certain groups, promote your business, drop posts and things like that. But guess what? Some people ask for advice in these groups, right? So what you can do, a workaround, is when people ask, I'm gonna use my skincare line for example. One of the big things that I see all the time in groups is, oh, I have eczema, or in the groups that I'm in, or like tips for my kids who have eczema, right? So I have a blog article on my website of tips on how to relieve your eczema, right? So I just take that, that URL, drop it in the group as a response to their post, and whoever clicks on it will go to my website. They'll read the blog post, and then in that blog post, of course, there's also product recommendations from my products that I sell on my website. So now they're on my website. Now they're like, oh, well, let me look around and shop, right? So blog. Great way to get your website in front of people. All right. Links to your social media platforms so that people can check them out and follow you and all of that stuff. And you can put a little message, hey, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, or wherever you have your pages.